How do you post journal entries to a ledger, and how do you go from a ledger to a trial balance? We'll talk about that in this video. Hi, my name is Katherine. I'm your accounting tutor, and I help accounting majors through graduation and beyond. So here we have all the journal entries we made in the last video, and we'll work on moving them over to the ledger, and then from the ledger to the trial balance. It's not as complicated as it seems. It's really just a matter of copy-paste. We start with this entry on 1/1. Cash was a debit for $1,000. So here on my ledger for cash, I'm going to debit $1,000. And then owner contributions, we credited $1,000. So over with on the owner's contribution ledger, I'm going to credit $1,000. For computer, we debited $500. So I'm going to debit the computer for $500. Cash credit $500, cash credit $500. Advertising expense debited for $100. Advertising expense debit $100. Accounts payable credit $100. Accounts payable credit $100. You can see this is really way simpler than sometimes we can work it up in our minds to be. Cash debit $75. Cash debit $75. Credit service revenue $75. Credit service revenue $75. Accounts receivable debit $100. Debit $100. Service revenue credit $100. Cash debit $100. Accounts receivable credit $100. Put it over here. Accounts payable debit $100. Cash credit $100. Cash debit $1,000. And notes payable credit $1,000. Okay. We have that, so I'm moving over here. The way we get to the final amount in these ledgers, honestly, the debits and credits are kind of playing tug of war, and whoever is bigger wins. So what we're going to do, if you know what their normal balance is, that helps. Normal balance is the side that they go up on. So up at the top, we have our assets, cash, accounts receivable, computer. Those are all assets. They all go up with a debit. So we would expect the final answer to be in the debit column. Even if you wouldn't know, we could figure it out here. And yeah, so we're going to sum the debit side, and then we're going to subtract the sum of the credit side. You can do this manually too. And so we get $15.75. I'll break it down. All the debits add up to $21.75 down here in the bottom corner, and the credits add up to $600. So $21.75 minus $600 equals this $15.75. Accounts receivable, well, and then we have this formula, so I'm just going to copy paste it. But debit of 100 and credit 100, they cancel each other out, so that's why it's a 0. And for the computer, it's just a debit of 500, so it stays 500, and it stays on the side where it is. It doesn't flip sides. Accounts payable is actually a liability, it's a credit. We'll put it over here. And so I'll just do credit minus debit. Since there's just one, we can see it's 0. Notes payable is also a liability, it's a credit. We put that here, it's $1,000, there's only one entry. Advertising expense, only one entry, it's a debit. Service revenue is equity, it increases equity, it's a credit. So we add these up for $175. Owner's contribution, there's just one, it's a credit, it stays a credit. And now here are our final balances. From here, we can go to the trial balance, which I set up over here, and it's really just a matter of copy-paste. So cash has a debit balance of $15.75, put that here. Accounts receivable is 0. Computer is a debit of 500. Accounts payable is a credit of 0. Notes payable is a credit of 1,000. Advertising expense is a debit of 100. Service revenue is a credit of 175. And owner's contribution is a credit of 1,000. So you can see here that our debits equal our credits, and that means everything is in balance and we're good to go. Having your debits equal your credits doesn't automatically mean that you did everything correctly. You might have used incorrect accounts, but it is a good indicator that you didn't totally mess something up. If you do this and your debits don't equal your credits, something's definitely wrong. Go back and look. I would start by checking each individual journal entry, which I know can be a pain, but in cases where there's only 2 accounts, it's pretty simple to just check that all of these match. And then if those are all correct, I would move to the ledgers and make sure that you wrote them down correctly. It can be pretty easy to, oh, I'm here, debit cash for 1,000, and then your eye just kind of skips a few things, and next thing you know, you're down here, cash of credit, and you just skip these 2 things. Or you see it as a debit, but you enter it as a credit. Just really anything can happen. And so if you're having problems, that's how I would try to address it. And if that's all correct, then again, check carefully that you put it in the trial balance correctly, that your debits and credits are in the right column, and all of those kind of things. But other than that, that's it. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. In the description, you'll find a link to a free cheat sheet that will help you make more accurate journal entries, and also a link to an ebook I created to help with debits and credits and the accounting equation in general, as well as posting to a ledger. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.